Cowboys Nation? The Dallas Cowboys get back in the win column and they defeat the New York Giants, sweeping them for this season. Cowboys win 49-17. Let's talk about it.
Prescott, touchdown. Throw, look at middle, sacked again by Parsons again. CeeDee Lamb, was he down? They say no for now, and he's into the end zone.
The Dallas Cowboys come back home and they completely stomp on the New York Giants. Man, this was not a contest. The closest it was at kickoff when it was 0-0. And the Cowboys take care of business. There's no surprise here. There should be no surprise here about what the Cowboys just did to the Giants. The Giants were empty-handed. They had no players. Their best players were on IR. So this was totally expected. And it was just never close. Like I said, kickoff was the closest this game was. Cowboys took a little bit to get it going at the start of. But I mean, even if you look at that first drive, they were dominating, moving the ball. They just ran into some red zone issues that have been pretty glaring throughout the entire season. But we could go on and talk about the red zone and how the Cowboys couldn't make it happen. But they made it happen. 49 points, and this is something that's worth notating. No defense or special team points in this one. This was purely offense. So we talk about this offense and the issues it had early on. I saw no issues today. This was, granted, it's against the Giants. I am your unbiased and realistic Cowboys fan, so I'm not going to jump out here and puff my chest and flex after beating the New York Giants when they were 2-8, 2-7 before coming into this game. So, I'll admit that, but there are things that you can take away from this game that the Cowboys did really well, and they essentially did what they usually do. They beat up on the bad teams, and that's exactly what they did against the Giants. And this offense had no problem rolling, had no problem throwing the ball. A couple of stats to throw out here for you. At home, at AT&T Stadium, not only were the Dallas Cowboys undefeated at home last season, they keep that momentum going. They remain undefeated at AT&T Stadium, but they have outscored opponents 160 points, 250 points at their home stadium. It has been complete domination. If you look at any of those games, the Jets, the Patriots, the Rams, and now the Giants, none of them have been close. Home field advantage is super important to the Dallas Cowboys, and I mention that because if you look at the schedule, and everyone who watched my pregame prediction video, shout out to each and every one of you. Thank you so much. I talked about how important these next 3 games are before we get to that stretch towards the end of the season where, it's the Eagles, it's the Bills, it's the Lions, it's the Dolphins, it's the, it gets chaotic there. So for the Cowboys, they need home field advantage. I'll just say it because you've heard me talk about it, about them being a road team. Right now, they have more losses than wins on the road. This is a home team. These next 2 games against the Panthers and the Washington Commanders are super important to get we're favored, but you don't want to mess up here. You don't want to play around with your food or anything like that, but the Cowboys have outscored opponents 160-250 at home. Granted, I just named the opponents, but the Cowboys have dominated. And when you talk about the New York Giants, and I kid about it in my pregame prediction video, I told each and every one of you that they are the Dakota Giants, that they are the New York Prescotts. This is 12 in a row. Just soak that in for a moment. 12 in a row that Dak Prescott, number 4, has defeated the New York Giants. And they outscored them this year, 89-17. So get your brooms out. The Dallas Cowboys sweep the Giants for the 2nd year in a row. I mean, it's just been insane, the domination that we've had to the Giants. Again, Giants are injured. Giants are not at full strength. But even if they were, we beat them 40-0 on opening night on Sunday Night Football at their home stadium. And so my mic just almost went up there, but I caught it, and just like CeeDee Lamb caught it. So let's talk about these wide receivers here. And CeeDee Lamb just having an insane stretch of games. 4 straight games of 100 plus yards, and becomes the first Dallas Cowboy in Cowboy history to have 3 straight games of 150 receiving yards. CeeDee Lamb is him. He is the real deal. And we all knew that, but man, the way he's elevated his game. And he's just not doing this against anyone. I mean, he did this against the Chargers. He did this against the Eagles. He is balling out right now, and it hurts my heart that we couldn't get a deal done with him before the beginning of the season, because God knows he's going to want that paycheck, and he's going to get it, and we got to do everything we can to, and I'm not worried about that. But CeeDee Lamb, insane game, had 2 touchdowns, right? Had the receiving touchdown, had the rushing touchdown. Shout out to Mike McCarthy. We're critical on him being an offensive coordinator sometimes, but you got to admit, he was in his bag on that reverse touchdown. And then Brandon Cooks. Welcome to Dallas. Finally, we get you the ball. Good things happen when you give Brandon Cooks the ball, man. When you give Cooks the ball, number 3, he will cook the defense literally. 9 receptions, 173 yards, and a touchdown. This man could not be stopped. No one could cover him. He was insane, man, and that's what you got to do, and I talk to you guys about it all the time. When the Cowboys put their wide receivers in vertical sets, vertical concept designs, there is no one in the league that can beat our wide receivers one-on-one when they're going vertically. It's when you have them running across mesh concepts, 5 and outs, 5 and ins, that's when it gets a little bit tricky. But when you send our wide receivers against any secondary and you just send them, it's just no competition. They blow up exactly like we saw tonight. And Michael Gallup gets the touchdown. I got to shout out that touchdown because I felt like it's been so long since we've seen a deep ball like that. So it was really awesome to see number 13 getting on the action, and Jake Ferguson had the touchdown. And this defense, man, I had predicted 4 sacks, and if I count them right, it looks like they got 5 of them. And Sam Williams, he set it the tone. He had such a great first half and really came to his own. And the Cowboys and DQ, Dan Quinn, they just need to keep playing him more on the ends, defensive ends. And Micah Parsons had a quiet game, but this was not a game where we needed Micah Parsons to be loud and make plays. You have everyone else do that, so I'm not going to get on top of that and say, oh, Micah should have been. No. We didn't need this. We knew we were going to win the game. Everyone knew we were going to win this game. 17.5 home favorites for the Dallas Cowboys in this game. It was no competition, and a lot of people knew about it. But let's talk about this running game. I had predicted that Tony Pollard was going to have a 100-yard plus running game, and he didn't. He had 15 carries for 55 yards. But let's talk about Rico Dowdle. He has arrived, he is here, and the Cowboys have no choice now but to feed him the ball more. There is something about Rico Dowdle, there's something that he has that TP20 doesn't. Rico Dowdle is running downhill. You can see the explosion when he gets the ball and how aggressive he is, and when he lowers his shoulder. He can get those dirty yards with his speed and with his athleticism, something that Tony Pollard can't do. Tony Pollard can, if he sees an opening, if he sees a seam, he can hit it because he has the speed. But Rico Dowdle can wear down a defensive line, and he's led by this offensive line. So Rico Dowdle, 12 carries, 79 yards, 1 touchdown. That is the most successful and efficient performance that we've had from a running back this season. Tony Pollard had a 100-yard game against the Arizona Cardinals, but this was a good game, and this is something the Cowboys needed, and this is exactly what I was talking about in my pregame prediction video, and it's something that I needed to see this team do. We needed to see them win in a different way. Now, granted, we're going to talk about the big reason why they won here in a bit. Be sure to like and subscribe, but we needed to see them run the ball effectively. And that's exactly what they did. Granted, it's against the New York Giants, but Rico Dowdle was much needed, and the Cowboys needed to see that they had another weapon in the backfield, because at this point, you're not going to get anybody. So to see that kind of talent come up, Rico Dowdle, 79 yards, a touchdown, you can't complain. Now be sure to like and subscribe to this video and comment down below your post-game reaction video, because now we're going to talk about the main event. We are going to talk about number 4, Rain Dakota Prescott. 26 of 35. 404 yards. 5 touchdowns. 4 of them passing, 1 of them rushing, and an interception. It was a bad throw. It was a bad play. He would tell you himself he wants that one back. But let's not minimize that. And I know Dak haters are going to be everywhere. They're going to be talking about, oh, he threw that one interception. Oh, shut up. Stop. Just admire good quarterback play that is in our presence. You didn't do it when we had Tony Romo. And, granted, he didn't have the best teams in front of him. But Dak Prescott is playing some of the best quarterback play that I've seen in my 27 years of watching the Dallas Cowboys play in the past 4 weeks. He has attacked ever since that San Francisco 49ers game, and he's taken the criticism that we all had, including myself, and he's revved it up. You look at what he's doing, and I kid you not, and you are just a plain hater if you don't at least agree with this sentiment. The fact is, Dak Prescott should at least be mentioned in the conversation when you're talking about the NFL's most valuable player at this moment. Look, you can't choose who you play, right? But Dak Prescott did this last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the best record in the NFL. So you can no longer come at us with the argument that, oh, it's the bad teams, Dak's playing the best. No. He did it against one of the best teams in the NFL last week. 404 yards. He is playing lights out. And you guys know me, Tony Goat Romo. I love Tony Romo. I loved him. One of my favorite players growing up. No doubt about it. But I am ready. Tune in. Come on in. I am ready to begin to have the conversation that perhaps, maybe, Dak Prescott has surpassed Tony Romo in the line of quarterbacks in Cowboys history. And look, I have an argument for this because this is just not a naked eye perspective, me saying this and me throwing it out there. I believe Dak Prescott has an incredible advantage with his health. That's allowing him to play longer, which is therefore allowing him to be more effective and be a better quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Unfortunately, that is not something Tony Romo did. Unfortunately, injuries got in the way. And of course, he was stuck with basically one head coach his entire career. I know he had three. I know he had Bill Parcells, Wade Phillips, and then he had Jason Garrett. But for the majority of his career, he had Jason Garrett. As for the Cowboys, as for Dak Prescott, he has the luxury of Jerry Jones and his time ticking and his ability to notice that, hey, time is of the essence. Let's get you somebody. And the team that they built around Dak Prescott has allowed him to flourish. Now, Tony Romo is a very talented quarterback. He lives in my heart, absolutely. I love number 9, hence the username Tony Goat Romo. But I am ready to have the conversation that Dak Prescott has perhaps in the midst of surpassing Tony Romo. And it's a difficult subject, and it's a difficult conversation to have as a Cowboys fan, especially if you're a Romo fan. But the time is here. He's playing lights out. He's playing some of the best quarterback play, and he's getting older. So at this point, you're talking about quarterbacks playing their best days, and it's behind them. He's only getting better. And you just got to give credit to Dak Prescott. Just an incredible game. The ins and outs of it. And 49 points. And he only played 3 quarters. He only played 3 quarters. And I'm excited, but you are just a plain out hater if you can't at least include Dak's name in the conversation. If you have a top 5 list, Dak is number 5 in that list, in my opinion. He's in the conversation. I'm not going crazy and say you should crown him right now. But, of course, we got to see this Cowboys team replicate this success and beat good teams. But right now, this is pretty special to see. And the Cowboys are rolling. They're good at home. They swept a division rival. And now we got the Carolina Panthers. Take care of business in the next 2 weeks so that we can focus on these good teams that are coming up. These solid matchups mostly are going to be on the road. That's all I got to say. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below your thoughts, your reaction about this game. And of course, I will see you guys later this week. We'll break down some film on why Dak Prescott exploded in this game. And I will see you guys then. Be sure to like and subscribe. Go Cowboys.
Prescott.